another minute to let a few folks log in here. Hope everybody's doing well today. And I want to make sure that everybody can hear me and also see me for this broadcast. This will be, oh, thanks, Jim, for raising your hand. Appreciate it. So what we're going to be discussing today is part 2 of a 2-part series. Hold on one moment while I cough here. Okay, so welcome. We'll go ahead and kick this thing off now. I'm Charles Owen with Paladin, and I manage business alliances here for the company. I do webinars and demos and shows and other types of fun things as well, because I enjoy it. Today, as I mentioned, we're going to be looking at part 2 of All About That Kit. So we're going to figure out, from this point, we're going to go forward and look at the different types of kits that we can build some creative kits here, see if they'll work for you. I have Chad assisting me on this, so if you have any questions, you can type them into your text screen on the bottom. Chad will also begin the recording. Chad, you can start it now if you haven't already. And this is really this presentation that we're doing is as I mentioned, part 2. So as a prerequisite, you need to have watched part 1 unless you already are using kits and you're really good at it and you know how to set them up. So if you did not see the first one, you can always go back to paladinpointofsale.com/webinars, plural, and watch last week's presentation. So you can catch up on that. And that's just, we're going to go over some of that right now. And apologize, I got a little frog in my throat here. Chad, how are we doing? Are we recording?
Sure.
All right, perfect. All right, so agenda's simple. We're not going to have a lot of slides here. We're going to go straight into Paladin. But first, I'll do a quick recap of what we discussed last week, just to go over this. So we went into what a kit definition is, some of the benefits, some of the different types of kits, and then we went into how to activate the kit feature. You actually have to go into Paladin and set it up. And then in addition to that, we talked about setting up a kit trigger. With every kit, the first item on that kit needs to be a kit trigger. And to set that up, when you go in to activate your kits under File Setup Company Invoice tab, you have an option to set up a classification for those kit triggers. That classification will then need to be put on that trigger item in the inventory under class. All right, and then we looked at building, storing, and selling kits. So that's what we learned last week. Again, if you want to see that information, you can see that at paladinpointofsale.com/webinars. So let's go ahead and put this presentation down and look at the Paladin application. All right, so I've got some pre-built kits that I've already built, and we'll kind of go through that, and I'll show you the different types. To get to the kits, all you do is go into Invoice and Quote and select Recall Transaction, and you push on the Kit button there. Now I've got 3 kits built in here, and I'll kind of go through and dissect each one of these and show you what the advantages of each of these are. I have one. I'll start with the Fall Sale Bundle. This is I created a kit trigger, which is a dump SKU trigger that basically kicks off this particular promotion. So if you buy a blower vacuum, you get a leaf rake and some pop-up garden bag. This is what you get when you buy this one kit. So with just typing in one SKU, in this case, it's called blow-package or BLOW-PKG. That will bring up the same kit that we see on the screen. Now I went into recall transaction, but just to show that again, if I type BLOW-PKG, it just comes straight in. So with one SKU, we can populate multiple items for sale. This works really well if you're selling a doghouse, for example, and you've got various components to that doghouse, or even a shed, and you want to decrement the inventory appropriately, and you want to also be able to sell those components separately. This is where this particular type of kit fits in real well. So I created a dump SKU called Blower Combo Pack, $120. Notice the price on the bottom, it's $120. And the price of the actual kit trigger is 0. And I'm just using the prices, and I've discounted actually the prices of the actual items being bundled into this particular kit. Notice the first item is still at the list price of $99, but you get the leaf rake, you get a couple of dollar discount there, and then you get even more of a discount on the pop-up garden bag. All right, so what does this invoice look like? Well, I'll go ahead and just check it out here. I'm going to print to the screen, so you will be able to see what's on the actual invoice. In this case, I've got a kit trigger, so you can see here. I've also got the 3 items listed below. So the kit trigger is in as a 0 item, but all the other items are listed at a discount. So that's how that particular kit will look. Now let's look at a different kit now. We're going to go back into Recall Kits, and I'm going to bring up a Weber Barbecue Bundle. So what this is, again, my kit trigger in this case is an actual SKU. What does that mean? Well, it means that you cannot sell this Weber grill without it populating all these other items below it. So I have made this actual SKU a kit trigger. Now I'm selling the gas grill. I'm selling it for $325, and below it I put several items in at 0 cost. So they get with it the barbecue utensils. They get with it the cleaner, the brush, season injector, different types of things. They get those when they buy the Weber grill, just automatically. So this is very good for promotional sales, trying to drive items where you want to give away products when you can't discount the main product. All right, so the total price here is the trigger items price of $325, and everything else I've discounted at 0. Well, what happens to the margins when I discount at 0? Well, on those particular items, your margins are going to get hit. But you're actually making up for it on the margin that you're charging for on the gas Weber grill. So if I put 0 prices in here, what happened to my manager override? So a lot of times when you put a new price in here, right, and you enter, it's going to prompt you with your manager override. Well, if that's the case, it usually puts a little line under there that says manager number 1 overrode the price, right? So you don't want that. Let's clean that up. When you build these kits and you're putting a 0 or a discounted price that either goes below the minimum margin or that pierces that threshold of profitability, you can go ahead and enter your manager override code, and then it usually puts a line underneath. Just go to that line, wherever that line might be. Here's what it might look like. I'll just add a note here. So here's one that says enter notes. You just press F3 and it gets rid of that manager override line. It still tracks it, but it just doesn't show it on the invoice. So it cleans up this particular kit item nicely. All right, so if we transact this, we'll check out, and I'll show you on this screen again. We'll produce a PDF document here so you can see it. And here we have the gas grill Weber at $325, and everything else below it's free. Just comes with at no cost. So can we sell the barbecue brush, the grill wipes, and the seasoning injector separately without the kit? Absolutely. So you can sell those individual items, but when it comes to selling the item, the main item here, which is the kit trigger, it only comes with all those other items. All right. A third type of kit that you might have, I'll go back into recall kits. I call this the super duper chicken feed. All right, so what I've done is I've created a kit with a kit SKU, which is actually a SKU, and it has a price associated with it, but it's a non-inventory item SKU. That being said, I can have my main price in there, which is a compilation of all of the other items below it. And then following that, I can have my recipe. In this case, I have put in quantities to factor in what I need to make up this particular recipe. In addition, I've zeroed out the price items or column so that those prices are not identified here. So what I've got is I've got a kit, but this kit is proprietary to me. I don't want anybody to see the ingredients of this kit. Therefore, when I print this receipt or invoice, guess what? I have it so it hides all the items that are in there as zero, and it only shows the super chicken feed. So we actually have got an increase in the based on, if you were to look at the prices of each of these items in this kit, it would actually be less than the total trigger kit item on the top. And the reason that is because this is a proprietary blend, and it's a very popular item, and I get a lot of money for it. So my profits are actually increased because of this proprietary blend. Now, this could also be something that could be used in something that you manufacture or compound in a pharmacy as well, so to address that side of things. So you can have multiple over-the-counter items combined together and to make a particular solution, and you can hide the ingredients if you want to by just telling it, don't print anything that is set up as zero. So what happens when I change the quantity up on top? Now, this is true with every kit trigger, and I think it's more evident here and more profound because if you notice down below, the quantities are different. I have, 3 cups or 2.5 units or 4.25 units. All those units are respected when I increase my kit trigger item to 2. So watch when I hit 2 and hit enter. It changes the 3 to 6, it changes the 2.5 to 5, and so on all the way down. So it factors in all of the different percentages of the ingredients that we're using here. I'll go ahead and change it back. All right. Also, it doubles the price too when you change it to 2. So what happens when we check this item out? So let's go ahead and check out. I'll just do this as cash, and we'll show it on the screen here. Now this is pretty interesting. It just shows the one super chicken feed of $55. It does not show all the components that fall within this, and all the ingredients that fall within this particular recipe. So that's kind of cool. It's a lot of feed and seed folks that mix their own blends wanted to make sure to protect that intellectual property, and you can do that with Paladin. And it also cleans it up. If you want to do it for the barbecue, you can do it as well too. The prerequisite is that the items in the kit are zeroed out. Once you have a zero price in that kit, that qualifies to be hidden from the invoice. So when you actually store this document as a kit, you'll notice on the bottom here it says hide items with price of 0. So you can have 10 ingredients and maybe show 3 of them but hide 7 of them. That's fine too. Anything with a 0 price will hide those items. Okay. So that covers the different types of kits that you can put in the system. It covers the kit trigger. There's one other feature I want to show you on here that isn't released yet. So therefore, what I have to do is I have to go out here and get to a new version of the product. So I'll go ahead and pull up a new version of the product. This is the Paladin product. We'll go ahead and bring this new version up. This is hot off the presses. It's a great feature. What happens when you get a kit and you put it in the system, so for the doghouse, for example, and you have a bunch of components that make up this doghouse or this storage shed, and I want to go ahead and reflect newer pricing. So with lumber, you always get price updates that come down. So what you want to be able to do is make changes very effectively to those. So if we go ahead and we recall, let's recall this kit here, fall, the blower combo pack, basically. If there are new prices, or even if it's discounted and you want to bring it back up to par, you have an opportunity to change this for each of the kits automatically. And all you do is go to Recall Transaction, Kit, you click on the item you want, and then down here on the left-hand side it says Update Retail. So you press that button, it says, well, the old retail was 120. Now I haven't actually changed any of the retail prices on this, but it's telling me, hey, the new retail at list price would be $127.98. This was actually created by design, this particular kit that I've created for the fall sale bundle. I discounted those items, so it's trying to bring it back up to par so you can understand and see if you had list prices of bundles to make the doghouse or the storage shed and prices were to change in the inventory, you can reflect those changes here just by a click of a button. Now I can preview the new changes. I can say yes and incorporate them and it'll just save it, or I can say no and reject it. So if I let's preview, well, here it is. Now it's $127.98 instead of $120. I can reject that by just not saving this particular kit. It's just allowing me to look at a what-if scenario. What would it be? What would it look like if I changed the price? In this case, it just brought the prices up to par with the current list prices. That's all I have for the kits today. If you have any questions, we have a little bit of time. We're into this about 18 minutes. And I'll see if there's any questions here. Chad, if you want to come on.
There's no questions at this time, but we can also unmute everybody and just kind of open the floor. If you
sure.
like.
Okay, so everybody's unmute. Adam, or anybody else that's on the list. If you want to ask a question at this time, you're all unmuted. How you guys doing? If you have your phone on mute, I can't hear you. If you don't want to say anything, that's fine too. I hope this was useful to you. Again, watch the first presentation, the first part one of this, if you want to see exactly how kits are set up. But this really describes kits. I hope it's advantageous for everybody. Again, if you have any questions, you can always email them to us as well. You know, mine and Chad's email is real simple. I'm Charles O, and he's Chad K at paladinpos.com. Next week, Chad, do you know what we have coming up for a webinar next week?
Yeah, I believe that we're doing one about special orders made even easier, so expanding some of the previous ones on special orders and talking about some of the additional things we can do to make them easier and simpler.
Great. I know that several features were added to the special order feature set. One was, I think, enabling automatic deposits to automatically be created, which is kind of cool. And other things as well. So stay tuned for that. Again, you guys, thank you so much for your time.
Charles, before you go, Adam has a question here on when it comes to ordering and receiving, does it incorporate all the items in a kit? Do you have to manually input the items being ordered?
So when you're ordering, can you put in a kit? That's a good question. I don't know. I think that's the question.
Does it incorporate all the items in a kit? So can you order by the kit, I think is what he's wondering.
And I'm just trying that now on the screen. And the answer is no. It will not order. Well, it's a yes and no. if you're in the PO screen and you type in the kit SKU, it's not going to respect all the items in that kit SKU. However, when you generate and when you're using suggested order reports, it will let you know what needs to be ordered, because the kits automatically decrement the inventory appropriately based on what's the ingredients that are in the kit. Even if you have zero prices, even if it's not shown on the invoice, you're still, I mean, that's the whole idea, right, is to keep the inventory intact. And in order, and just by virtue of the fact that you're using the kit feature, it is decrementing from stock, even all of those recipes in that super chicken feed. It automatically will decrement the stock appropriately based on those units of measure, and keep up with that. So it will identify what needs to be ordered in the for those individual items that are components of those kits. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Thanks, Charles.
Yep.
Oh, we got one more here coming from Jim.
Sure.
Adam
okay.
said thank you. That does answer his question. And we've got, when will the kit retail price change update be available, and how do we get the update?
So the updates either come in via electronic data interchange from your primary supplier, as they do with invoices and maintenance files, and that will change, usually change the cost. In some cases, the actual retails are changed as well. You can also go in and manually change that. You can also set your prices up to be changed based on a reference margin. So it can have a fixed margin with obviously with price changes. So if you have a fixed margin and your cost changes, it'll automatically change your price. That's also another feature in Paladin that you can implement. But just anytime those.
Oh, I think he's asking when the update is going to be available in Paladin for the price change.
Oh,
one
very good.
Showing us.
Very good. So the current version that I was showing before the update, the prices, was 9371.1. The version I'm using here is the latest hot off the press is 9632. I believe the current beta and alpha have this particular feature in it. That being said, we're looking at in the next couple of weeks about we're looking into pushing out a general release that will incorporate update the prices of the kit items. Now today you actually have to go in and manually change those prices. Good news is, however, it identifies prices that have changed by making them pop in the blue color, and it shows the updated price. So you can go into kits today and make the prices current. Now if you have 200 items in a kit, you might have 2 or 3 different price changes. You can just go down, find those items with the blue that pops, and make that modification manually. Once this new update comes out in the next couple of few weeks or so, you'll be able to leverage that update kit pricing where it just changes it all across the board.
Yeah, and Jim, additionally, as far as how you will receive the update, updates work just like this will work just like all the other updates, in that you'll automatically get it one morning on the bottom left-hand corner. You'll see a little auto update bar start loading, and then the next time you log into Paladin, you'll be running the latest version. So you won't have to do anything. Just look for it.
Yes, the updates automatically download. Like right now, I just found another update. Down below, you'll see it says auto update 18%, 90%. It does this automatically. It will do this throughout the day. You normally get a release every 6 to 10 weeks, and it just automatically comes down. Now, where you want to look for that information is on this screen here. On this screen here, this is the new feature. So when you first log into Paladin, you can see this. So if I can see update kits, I'll see if that's even a search. So it's automatically update kit prices. So we go in here. This talks about it. Says how it's done, how to set it up, how to use it, and it says it's build 9447. So that's a hint saying, okay, you can look at help about, and if your number, the last 4 digits before the .1, is greater than build 9447, then you've got the release. If it's under that, which the current, I think the current build out there is 9371.1, so that would actually fall under the 9447. But the next update will be above that, so this feature will be in there. So this feature's search bars is really nice. You can type in information or different features that you're interested in seeing. It will tell you exactly what the status is. All right, so it says a new version is complete. Do I want to download it now? I mean, do I want to restart the system? I said no. So hopefully that covers that question. Any additional questions?
Nope, Jim says thank you, though.
Perfect. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody. Again, this will be available on the paladinpointofsale.com/webinars website for review. It's also on your, we've incorporated it into the help feature as part of the self-help tools, Paladin webinars. Just click there and you'll be able to get right to the webinars. Thanks, everybody. I will terminate this call, and I thank you so much for your participation. I hope this was very helpful.